Christian XC1 review covering Las Vegas and the world. Week 14 of the college football season is here. This is the last regular season week of the college football season. We're still going to be back for conference championships, college football playoff, and bowl games, but this is it. Rivalry week is here. Lane Foobs, Bearcat Bites at Bearcat Bites, of course, on X Twitter. It's in the description below. It's also below his name bar, of course, as always. Go over there to see his newsletter covering, Substack covering Sam Houston football. Sam Houston plays FIU this week. We'll talk about that at the end of the podcast. Lane, thanks as always for joining us. Back from Spain. Thank you so much for being here today. How are you?
Man, amazing trip. Wife and I had a great time, so glad to be back. Right in time for Rivalry Week, the biggest weekend of the year. A lot of playoff implications, a lot of coaching names. This weekend has the little bit of the seasonings of all the elements that we like about college football, so I'm excited.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting to note is, I'm not a big fan of the 12-team college football playoff, and we'll talk about that to the end of time. But there's a lot of games that have college football playoff play and impact. So I think that's what makes this weekend really surprising. Exciting and surprising. So let's just start with Ole Miss and Miss State. Friday night game, Egg Bowl, or Friday after. I think it's Friday morning game, actually, Egg Bowl, if I'm not mistaken. 9 a.m., right? 9 a.m. kickoff, noontime here, noontime Eastern time, 9 a.m. here. Does Miss State have any chance to upset them at all?
First off, with the Egg Bowl, that start time, man. I've covered an Egg Bowl, the Dak Prescott Egg Bowl about 10 plus years ago now. And it's usually at night. That's when the drama happens. That's when we've got Elijah Moore doing the peeing dog and all this other crazy stuff that has happened during the Egg Bowl. We're bringing this thing out in the sunlight. Nah, man. I don't know how I feel about that. But with that being said, I think Mississippi State does have a chance because here's why. Lane Kiffin, he will try to diminish the impact that his actions and being a distraction has on the locker room, and he's tried to do that. That's a distraction, all right? And in a rivalry game like this, it can impact things. So Mississippi State definitely can win. I think they have enough to keep it close, but I'm still gonna go with Ole Miss. I'm gonna go ahead and go with them just to slightly pull it out, and the Lane Kiffin drama continues even more. Oh, is he gonna coach this team? Now they have the playoffs and all of these things. So let's just buckle up and get ready for that.
Oregon at Washington. Here's my question. Washington, I believe, is 8-3. Are they capable enough to beat Oregon? And if they beat Oregon, is Oregon out of the college football playoff?
Oh, man, yes, with the margin so slim. The thing is that, the Big Ten can sit here and talk about how, great they are and they're right up there with the SEC. That's not true. That is not true. They're definitely not there in the ratings, and then definitely not as far as, which conference.
No, they are not.
So, yeah. And what that means for Oregon is that it's a much smaller margin. Now they barely beat Iowa. They've already lost to Indiana, those type of things. But I just think Oregon is going to keep going. I think Dan Lanning is the type of coach that keeps them focused. I still like them. I still think their skill guys are great. I still think they're a solid team. Washington, sneakily good this year. They're a solid 5-3 this year. They lost to some of the tougher teams that are there in the Big Ten, but I think this is going to be a loss for them as well. I like what Jedd Fisch has done, but go ahead and give me the Ducks in this one, and they're going to stay in that playoff hunt.
Jedd Fisch, who supposedly is now the favorite to be the next University of Florida Gators football coach. Very quickly, for selfish reasons, 60 seconds. Good hire, not a good hire.
If Jedd Fisch was going to Florida, I would say not a good hire because, you have to have a certain type of person to go there and make it in the SEC. By the way, that's what makes what Kalen DeBoer's done this year. I kind of have a little respect for it because we've had a West Coast guy come in to the SEC before. His name was Brian Harsin at Auburn. Didn't work. A lot of times that cultural fit. So I would say that that's not going to work, especially kind of given Jedd Fisch's kind of personality there. I would avoid that. Stay in Washington, man.
All right, we'll see what happens, I guess. The Georgia Tech scenario went exactly the way I said last week. What if Georgia Tech loses? Okay, so what happens if Georgia Tech beats Georgia? Do they still not make it? How do you not put that team in if they beat a top 5 team now? How do you do that?
Oh, man. I mean, they almost have to win. winning, then hope a few other things happen, and it would be them being out of that ACC championship game, and this was not a playoff that was designed to get multiple teams from the conferences like the ACC and Big 12 in. So again, just kind of like Oregon, but more so the margin is slim. That's how they'll do it. It'll be one of those outrages, but then the committee will point to, well, you lost these games, and they kind of be right. They kind of struggled at the end, and they didn't look great against Boston College, But how about Georgia Tech? Win or lose this weekend, they're the winner. I read somewhere, I believe they sold this home game for Georgia, the clean old-fashioned hate rivalry. They sold it for like $10 million so that it could be held across the street from where they play at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And I still think I don't know how much that's going to do for home field advantage. Obviously, for them, it won't do much, but they'll make some money in a loss. I think that again, I like Gunnar Stockton for Georgia, the Bulldogs. I really like what he does. I don't think he gets talked about enough. I will go with the Bulldogs over their in-state rivals.
Fine, I agree with that. Miami and Pittsburgh, I'm just going to say very quickly, Miami has not lived up to the task in recent years this year. Miami loses to Pittsburgh. I'm sorry, it's not happening.
Oh, it wouldn't be the first time in the past decade or so that, Pitt's kind of derailed what Miami is trying to do. Oh, man, do I want to pick Pitt? Where's the game? I don't have it in front of me.
It's at Pittsburgh. It's not at Miami.
Oh, and that's the scenario that we've seen as well. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to zig with you. I'm not going to zag this time. I've told you, I'm also not a fan of Carson Beck for Miami. He will screw you over good when he's good and ready. And I think this will be one of those times. Pitt, remember that Pat Narduzzi, Pitt's coach, he said, if we lose to Notre Dame, it's fine. We got to focus on the conference wins, basically. So, hey, this is a conference win. I'm going to put a little money on it. I'll put a little skin on Narduzzi. I'll go with the Pitt Panthers as well.
They just beat Georgia Tech last week. They're more than capable.
Right.
Vanderbilt against Tennessee, probably the first time, 50 years that Vanderbilt is higher ranked than Tennessee going into this game. If Vanderbilt wins, do they have any chance for the college football playoff, or this just is a no-go still?
I would still say just not quite. And it's really that Texas game. It's kind of the same reason that Diego Pavia is not considered in the Heisman Trophy, but even though he's putting up good numbers, you've had some good wins, but not quite enough. And then some of this too is all about brand name. Excuse me. That would still, I believe, put Oklahoma above Vanderbilt. So that's their problem. That ceiling's just not there. So, but with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and go with Vandy. I think, Pavia still wants to play hard. He wants to prove himself. He gets mad when he gets pulled in games. He's got a competitive spirit. The mom, everyone likes checking out the mom for Pavia and all that stuff. So I will go with the Commodores in this one.
That was your funniest moment of the entire game script year right there. That was good. I like that. I really like that. Let's talk Ohio State, Michigan. Ohio State loses. They're still getting the college football playoff. Their seeding changes. Can Michigan get there, or again, just too far away?
Oh, man. With if a couple of things can happen, I think Michigan can get there. Obviously, being Ohio State is going to be the big help, but they're going to need some assistance. That this is one of those things where the conferences are just so big, and none of these guys really played each other. So that's going to be their issue. With that being said, I would say I'm going to go ahead and go with Ohio State. I know Michigan is kind of manhandled and dominated a little bit. I will put my money on Ryan Day, and I know a lot of college football fans are saying, how much is talent? That guy gets by on talent. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go with Ohio State.
UNLV goes to Reno, rivalry game. Can UNLV get 10 wins? I'm guessing so. Reno's a little bit better this year, though, but thoughts, can it be close at least, maybe?
Well, I know they switched out quarterbacks throughout the year. If you're the Pack there, they have played better down the stretch, much like Sam Houston, but I was also say much like Sam Houston, they have that paltry 3-8 record for a reason. Winners of 2 of their last 3, wins over nice win over San Jose State, Solid win when you go to Wyoming, UNLV as well. But I just think that battle for the Fremont Canyon. I'm going to go ahead and go with UNLV. Yeah, they got to go out to Reno. But again, I've been picking this team all year, and I like what they do, especially at their skill positions. I'm taking Dan Mullen all the way.
Shame they can't find a way to beat Boise State.
I know. Yeah. It's like that sometimes, So
yeah. Well, we got a Lane double special here. A double burger with double fries. Number one, first one, TAMU Texas. TAMU's in the playoff even if they lose this week. I think. Can Texas still make the playoff if they somehow win?
I've been told, and I've had sources and people tell me that even if they win, it's not going to matter. But this is the college football playoff. Things. It's about a lot of it's about that sticker on your helmet. If they win and a couple other things break, there's a chance. But with this being said, this game is in Austin. Texas A&M has a much better, much more dynamic front seven than they did a year ago. I like Cassius Howell there, one of the defensive ends. I'm still going to take Texas because here's my thing. And as I wear this maroon colored pullover, as an Aggie, I have BAS, battered Aggie syndrome is what that stands for. And it causes me to feel if I believe in my heart genuinely that the Aggies are going to win, it will not happen. So I am going to pick the Longhorns in this game. I hope I'm wrong, but for the sake of the Aggies winning, I'm going to pick against my Aggies and go with Arch Manning. Again, hope I'm wrong. Battered Aggie syndrome, Chris. These are the mental hoops you go through when you are a Texas Aggie. So there's that.
Isn't the history of Texas over TAMU? Texas has won almost 40 or 50 more times in the history of the rivalry. Am I wrong? Am I correct?
Yeah, it's one of those more lopsided rivalries, and I believe they haven't won in Austin since 2010, I want to say. Now, a lot of that, granted, is because they haven't played since 2011. But, here's the thing I'll say. I have not seen, as an Aggie, I don't know if I can remember the last time that the Aggies have beaten the Longhorns when there was something on the line, other than the rivalry. So 2011, the last rivalry, they lost that one. The stakes were, we're never going to play again. Who's going to win the final game? So Texas won that. Last year, it came back. If A&M wins, they can get the SEC championship at the playoff. They lost that one. I think 2010, if I remember correctly, A&M was looking at about a 7 or 8 win year or something like that going into it. There wasn't much to play for. Lo and behold, they won. So that's usually how that goes. So we'll see. We'll see this Friday.
Finally, Sam Houston versus FIU, the last game of the regular season. What are we doing?
Oh, man. Well, I thought that this game, when the season started, both teams may be going into this one needing to get that 6th win. Whoever wins gets to a bowl. Well, nope. Sam Houston lost too many games. They've only won 2 of them, so they can't go. FIU, they pulled an upset over Jack State last week, so they've already gone to a bowl. They've got their 6 wins. This is senior day for Sam Houston. It's looking like it's going to be a little stormy on Saturday at Shell Energy as Sam Houston closes out their residency playing in the city of Houston and not in their native home of Huntsville. I'm going to go ahead and go with the FIU Panthers because I really like what Willie Simmons, the former Prairie View coach, the former FAMU coach, current FIU coach, is doing there. He's a Florida guy that has embraced the movement that happens in college football, especially at the G5 level where he's at. And it's paid dividends. They're looking at a 7-win year. I think they're going to get it. Meanwhile, Sam Houston, they're just going to go ahead and go with the freshman quarterback, Landon Locke. They've ripped off his red shirt and decided to do that. He's going to start the final game. But I think that the FIU Panthers are going to roll in this one over Sam Houston, send them to 2-10.
Lane Fobbs, thank you so much as always for your analysis. Where can we find you as always? Bearcat Bites. Tell everybody.
Yep, Bearcat Bites right there at the Twitter and X, and the Bearcat Bites newsletter. The links are there when you go to the Twitter and X. The only independent media reporter covering Sam Houston football year around because you want it even though you didn't know that you needed it.
Happy Thanksgiving from CY Interview, me and Lane Fobbs, if you're watching this on Thanksgiving Eve, Thanksgiving Day. A lot of great college football this week. Tons of football. Watch it all. It will be gone before you know it. Christianic here. We'll be back next week with conference championship discussion. Lane, as always, thank you so much for being on CY Interview today.
Yeah, I love it. You all enjoy your families, enjoy Thanksgiving, enjoy some football. Just get great energy. We are blessed to have made it to this far in the year. Blessed to know you, Chris. You have a happy Thanksgiving as well.
Blessed to know you too. Blessed to know you too, Lane. Thank you so much.